The courtroom brimmed with an energy so sharp it could cut through stone. Every bench was filled, shoulders pressed tightly, breaths held in unison. Judge Allison Jones sat at the center of it all, her gaze steady, her presence commanding order without a single word. The air was heavy, as though history itself leaned in to listen. At the front, Jasmine Crockett rose slowly, her expression calm, but her eyes alive with fire. Murmurs rippled through the room, then died instantly as silence claimed the chamber. Everyone knew this was no ordinary response. This was a moment that could tilt the scales of perception, a moment that might outlive them all. Little did they know, her words would echo far beyond those walls. Jasmine Crockett was no stranger to skepticism. Her rivals often whispered that she was too bold, too unyielding, a voice meant to be dismissed. Yet those who truly listened knew better. Her reputation preceded her, a razor-sharp intellect, unshakable confidence, and a presence that demanded attention without raising its volume. On this day, her very demeanor unsettled those who underestimated her. She stood tall, her composure like still water, yet beneath it radiated a force that felt unstoppable. Where others expected a pause, the flicker of doubt, she instead carried an elegance sharpened by fire. Each movement was deliberate, each glance a quiet challenge to the room. Judge Allison Jones, seasoned and stoic, leaned forward ever so slightly, her eyes narrowing not in doubt but in admiration. It was the look of someone witnessing craft at its highest form. Crockett's cadence never wavered, her fire cloaked in elegance, her conviction a force that seemed to bend the room toward her will. The tension was electric, the air vibrating with the sense that something irreversible was unfolding. Even those who had dismissed her before could no longer look away. And then, as her final words settled into silence, every heart skipped a beat. The courtroom froze. Was this the turning point? The silence shattered into a wave of gasps that rippled through the room, spreading like sparks catching fire. Murmurs rose from every corner, disbelief mixing with awe, as if the walls themselves were struggling to contain the weight of what had just been spoken. The opposition, once smug and certain, now were the faces of the shaken, eyes darting, papers shuffled nervously as they scrambled for ground that no longer existed beneath them. Judge Allison Jones raised her gavel to restore order, but even her steady hand could not conceal the flicker of respect in her gaze. It was not favoritism, it was recognition of a truth so powerfully delivered that it could not be ignored. Crockett had not merely recited facts, she had spoken to something deeper, a force that resonated with everyone who had ever felt silenced, overlooked, dismissed. Across the aisle stood her opponents, armored in arrogance, clinging to shadows. But before them stood Crockett, unshaken, radiant with clarity and justice. In that moment, the battle lines were unmistakable. Not just arguments in conflict, but values themselves colliding in the heart of the courtroom. For a long moment, Judge Allison Jones sat in perfect stillness, her gavel resting like a symbol of measured authority. Then, almost imperceptibly, her expression shifted. An eyebrow arched, a subtle nod followed, and the faintest curve of a smile touched her lips. It was not favoritism, not a breach of impartiality. It was the rare acknowledgement of brilliance when it could no longer be denied. The courtroom noticed. Those seated in the gallery leaned forward, captivated not only by Crockett's words, but by the judge's unspoken response. Even the opposition, still fumbling for composure, could feel it. An invisible tide had turned. Jones spoke sparingly, her voice calm and deliberate, affirming the precision of Crockett's reasoning while keeping within the bounds of her role. Yet her gestures carried the greater weight. In that moment, respect became the most powerful verdict in the room.
Within hours, the courtroom moment broke free of its four walls and lit up every screen it touched. The clip raced across platforms, racking up views by the millions before the day was done.
Headlines blazed. Jasmine Crockett leaves millions speechless. Supporters hailed her as the voice of reason, flooding timelines with admiration and pride. Even critics, often quick to dismiss, found themselves conceding her undeniable command. The footage replayed endlessly. Each nod from Judge Jones, each syllable from Crockett dissected, praised, debated. From living rooms to lecture halls, from local feeds to international outlets, her words sparked conversations that refused to fade. What began as a courtroom exchange had transformed into a global rallying cry. And it was only the beginning. Crockett's words transcended the courtroom, becoming a symbol of courage under fire and a testament to unwavering principle. Judge Jones's quiet admiration echoed the universal respect earned when truth is spoken boldly, with intellect and grace. Across the nation, viewers, students, and advocates carried the moment forward, inspired to stand firm in their own convictions. In the end, it was not politics or power that resonated, but clarity, integrity, and purpose. In a world of noise, sometimes one clear voice silences millions.